In this module, you will learn about new out-of-the-box reports delivered in Sage Intelligence, the data load performance improvements, and the additional options such as debit and credit columns, export-import reports, show-hide rows based on account with debit or credit balance that have been added. Users now have access and can analyze their financial reports on demand, anywhere, anytime, and have an easy-to-use report designer that is cloud and web compliant. Features. You now have the ability to share your report layout by exporting the report and sending it to a different user to import. Data is not exported, just the report layout. You now have the ability to show hide rows based on whether the account has a debit or credit balance at a given period. This allows for accurate balance sheet creation where a current asset account, for example, can either be found under the current liability sections and vice versa, based on the setup done by the user and the balance value, debit or credit. Should a report be set up to use the opening balance or closing balance column formulas, the user now has the option to indicate in the Balance to Show field found under the column properties screen whether the balance should always show, show only when the balance is a debit, a balance of 0 or higher, or show only if the balance is a credit, balance of less than 0. The data load functionality has been enhanced to allow users the ability to select for which companies and years they would like data to be loaded for. While a data load is occurring, the user has the ability to navigate in the system. Please note the following. This release is available solely for X3 Cloud customers on product version 11. After developing a proof of concept in Update 10, we entered the scope by delivering a list of Sage Intelligence out-of-the-box reports, French tax reports and accounting statements, North America and Great Britain income statements, and profit and loss. All reports are based on X3 representations linked to the SIR activity code. X3 representations extract data from various tables. As for amounts, it gathers summary records from the general and analytical ledger, so no details will be available for the time being. As a prerequisite, the user must have a valid Sage ID and basic accounting knowledge. Additionally, no setup required in Sage X3. Only the SIR activity code must be enabled to allow SI extraction based on the related X3 representations. Reports are built into Sage Intelligence. The principles remain unchanged and the improvements are described in the next slides. Here is the process. First, you'll enter the financial data into X3. It will automatically populate the X3 tables and related representations. If the user wants to check a report from X3, he will go to Sage Intelligence and need to enter his Sage ID credentials. He will then be redirected to Sage Intelligence, where he can launch a targeted report or create a new one. Here is a sample of the out-of-the-box report now available in Sage X3 version 11. Let's take a look at some of the new Sage Intelligence reporting features for version 11. The first thing you may notice is the new Data Load button in the right-hand corner. By default, all your companies and prior year data will load into the system, but the user now has the ability to select or unselect which companies they wish to load and for which years. Whatever setup they choose, the system will remember their choices the next time they sign in. They can also arrange their companies to set priority. If later on you wish to change your selections, navigate back to the Data Load screen. Data for companies already loaded will not be refreshed. Another new feature is the ability to export or import your new report layouts. Once you have recreated a report layout, you can then export it and share it. All you do is select where you want to save your export to. To import a layout, you click on Import Report and select where the report was stored and import it and open it. Once imported, they can open the report and run it. Please note that data is not carried over with the report. It is just a template. Another feature is the debit-credit column options. On a trial balance, you may want to have your debit and credit columns. We now have the amount type. Has to be either opening balance or closing balance, and then we have balance to show. This will only work once again if the amount type is of opening balance or of type closing balance. The next feature is the flip account setting. We can tell an account to print depending on whether it is a debit or a credit. Include this row can either be set to always if the value is a credit or if the column value is a debit. This allows for accurate balance sheet reporting. We've also made changes to reporting codes. Mathematical expressions are now possible. The user can sum or subtract reporting codes from each other. Remember that balances returned are summed records. This means that debit or credit accounts for a single control will not be used to return results, but rather all the control accounts combined. And we've also changed the order of our report filters. They are now more in line with the way you would run your Sage X3. In this module, you have learned about new out-of-the-box reports delivered in Sage Intelligence, the data load performance improvement, and the additional options such as debit and credit columns, export-import reports, show hide rows based on account with debit or credit balance that have been added.